The Ox and the Opus is a show that explores friendship through the power of conversation. We will cover entertainment, technology, and life.
Here we go.
All right, y'all. This is your man, Golden Gringo.
And King Conundrum.
Special guest again.
Big Boss
for
Baby.
The second time.
Big Boss Baby, the weatherman.
Oh, what it do? Big Boss Baby in the house.
All right, so I think just off the last time with the editing, I was loudest again, and then between Joe and Vic. So we're gonna scoop this mic a little bit more
towards me,
towards y'all too.
Okay.
And then I think I'm good with my distance here. All right, so
this is episode 4.
400.
And we'll try to come up with a title once it's over.
All right.
So, first we're gonna talk about.
Why you look like
like what? Come on now.
All right.
It's too awkward right now.
Here we go.
So, since we're still in the month of Black History, we're gonna talk about a town which was it incorporated?
Yeah. So
like one of the first towns that was incorporated by
African
Americans after the Civil War.
Mm-hmm.
You see that off the top of the dome?
You almost said silver, but yes, you did that.
I did.
So maybe we'll get I think if we get Joe here to go read this first paragraph, then I think that'll.
Should we start off with the slang word of the episode?
Yes, that's right.
I don't know how you want to set it off.
Don't piss me off because you don't want this smoke.
No, you don't want this smoke.
You don't want no smoke.
No.
So what does that mean? Somebody translate.
You don't want these problems, basically.
Okay. Like what's his face? Scrappy, little Scrappy. You don't want no problems.
You don't want no problem.
But you don't
want no smoke. So you don't want no smoke.
Hold on, let me look it up in the Urban Dictionary to see what exactly means.
Give me the exact urban definition.
I wonder how did that come up as far as who came up with the slang that smoke?
I bet you it was gun related, and then
you think so?
I think so, and then it's probably you don't want that thing to be smoking, boy.
Yeah,
you don't want that thing to be smoking.
So he usually come up with
there you go.
Again, Joe just must have could this. Joe has some sort of affection towards that word ebonics. That's his go-to word right there.
Yeah, my comfort word.
Oh yes, the visage of the world is, what is that word? Ebonics.
How'd you put it in the Urban Dictionary? Did you just say smoke or you didn't want that smoke?
Yeah, you don't want no smoke. Urban Dictionary.
I'm gonna put in smoke and then beef trouble. Okay, here we go.
All
right. Smoke. This is from the Urban Dictionary. Hold on. I understand. Okay. Smoke. Beef, and we ain't talking about no meat. Trouble. Confrontation. Gun battle. Here we go. You ready? This is an example. Why you flexing, boy? You don't want this smoke.
Why are you flexing, boy? So flexing is what? Show off a little bit.
Yeah,
you trying
stunting on them.
Oh yeah, that could be yes, flexing could be, but then again you gotta break down stunting. Showing off.
Yeah, like showing off, showboating. Yeah. Flexing. It's all the same thing, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We ain't talking about flexing.
But then stunting too is growing up, I ain't stunting that. Right. I ain't sweating it.
That
ain't nothing.
I never heard that one. Is that a Southern thing or what?
I don't know. I used to always say, ain't nobody stunting that. Ain't nobody stunting Vic.
Wow.
Ain't nobody paying you no mind.
Like in New York, we would say, back in the day, we would say sweating. Nah, I ain't sweating. No. Why you sweating me, son?
No, means the same thing. Okay, so we learned something new today.
All right, so after the Civil War, you know.
So how you go from you don't want no smoke to after the Civil War? All right, so I think if we let Joe read that first paragraph there, it'll kind of just detail what. So basically, we're gonna discuss.
I'm laughing about the next
Princeville, North Carolina. All right, Joe.
There's so much history in North Carolina. I tell you, like again, like since the last episode, I didn't know like North Carolina had like so much history.
Well, that's
especially like when it comes to Black history and like yeah. All
right, so here we go. I'm going to read this. It says, as the first town incorporated by African Americans in the United States, Princeville, North Carolina occupies a unique place in history. Many of its residents trace their roots to Freedom Hill, the inconspicuous know where the Inconception Proclamation was read out loud.
You jacked that up. No, where the Emancipation Proclamation.
The Proclamation
was
read out loud
That's
to
bars,
their
son.
newly freed ancestors.
That rhymes. Yeah.
Still others descend from forebears brought in captivity via steamboat to how do you pronounce that?
I'm gonna say Shiloh Landing.
Shiloh, yeah.
Landing, just northeast of a town at a sharp bend in Tar River. Occupying the floodplain next to the river, the town has never seen stranger to adversify, but after generations of building and rebuilding, a marked increase in flooding in recent decades may prove, and how do you pronounce that?
Insurmountable.
Yeah, what you said, to threat to naturally susceptible landscape and the rich history it embodies.
So basically, what is Princeville? What does that mean? What kind of historical influence does it have, just in the United States? So apparently, it's the first
like African American town.
No, first town founded by
African Americans,
freed African Americans in North Carolina. So basically, it's just right outside of Tarboro. So there, I'll read
and
this
it's
little
like
bit.
Rocky Mountain too.
Yeah, it's eastern North Carolina. So
yeah, so it's like going towards the beach. Take 64.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, and apparently, well, here I'll just read this small little paragraph. In 1865, Union troops had established a temporary encampment just outside of Tarboro, North Carolina, having occupied the town. The site of the encampment became a refuge and beacon for still enslaved people who heard they could find relative freedom and safety there under the protection of Union forces. After the Civil War ended, many of the formerly enslaved people decided to remain on the land to establish their own settlement. They called it
Freedom Hill,
named for the elevated parcel where a Union soldier had stood to share news of the emancipation.
the proclamation.
Turner Prince is the guy's name. Turner Prince, who was a black carpenter, led the formal incorporation of the town as
Princeville
in 1885, making it the first incorporated
African American town in America.
Now there's some there is some discussion as to whether it was really Princeville or another town in Florida. You probably didn't see that, but just later on after we record, just look it up, and then there's a place in Florida that sort of claims
another town in Florida.
Yeah, it was the first.
Yeah, before North Carolina.
Yeah, but everything's kind of pointing towards the fact that it was Princeville, and maybe I'm just partial to that. So we can read, or I don't.
And it was like I did a little research on it today a little bit, and I guess the way the town was built on a landscape, the landscape was like kind of below, I don't want to say sea level because that's more like New Orleans, I think, but like
easily flooded though.
Yeah. So yeah, they had a lot of flood, and I guess the two most known floods came from Hurricane Floyd,
and then maybe Matthew. Yeah. So that town flooded out. So I think if you look to in certain areas that when the town got incorporated, obviously a lot of the white farm owners or just some of the white folks around just gave them a hard time. What else did you read? Wave of violence, yeah. So wave of violence perpetrated by white supremacists threatened the townspeople in its charter beginning in the late 1800s. And state and federal policies and a lack of public investment undercut the town's ability to maintain its infrastructure and economy. So it wasn't an affluent town. And so here you have this town that it was incorporated by newly freed slaves, and then once that happens,
I bet them white folks wanting that smoke.
yeah,
They probably trying to put some.
they
smoke
wanted
in there.
that. They wanted that smoke because it definitely said a wave of violence perpetrated by white supremacists, and then just the landscape, the geography of the place was such that it was susceptible to just more issues. So you mix all that stuff up, and it's just a town that's impoverished and just doesn't quite become successful.
But eventually, that town ends up like, just
Making it.
past all that and just making it, beyond those times.
I think the one thing
Eventually.
that I noticed is that there's a lot of historical value in that place, but there's nothing to celebrate it. And they kind of said that it was the oral tradition. That the older folks that were from Princeville would say, well, that's where they did this at. That's where, like, for instance, you got Freedom Hill. So these are little segments of Princeville from what I'm understanding. Powell Park, and Tar River Baptismal Site. So, close proximity. Let's see, the houses. I mean, there's a lot of history in this place, and it's just not being recognized. And I think they just rely heavily on the fact of the oral tradition and just the spoken word of what this place stands for or stood for. And there's no like historical landmarks left. The place washed out 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Wow.
It seems like you got a lot of media attention too, like those 2 hurricanes.
Yeah, they were saying like Prince.
I think they said that he donated about $37,000.
Mm-hmm. And what's crazy
I
is
wonder what that $37,000 can do. I mean, I know it could probably do a lot for that small town, but I wonder like where did it directly go to?
I think just for the infrastructure to help rebuild. You got to think every time this place, one of them those hurricanes, the whole town was underwater.
Yeah, and I think they built some kind of levee.
Yeah,
but that ended up not working.
I mean, there's so much. The information that's on this place, there's a lot of information, and we got this from TCLF website. What was the cultural? Lord mercy. TCLF.com. Just go there and you can get like all the details that we're reading from. I'm just looking at this. Federal flood protection. They tried to help this place out after it flooded. Joe, what do you think about Princeville? What's crazy is there are people from North Carolina that have no clue about that type of history.
You said that are from North Carolina.
Yeah, they have no clue about that type of history. In their own state. They were born and raised in. But yet, if Prince found out about Princeville,
Yeah.
Right.
and all these other people heard about the history of this place, where are we missing the mark at?
And it's not being taught in school, I guess.
No, hell no.
That's part of the history.
Yeah, I really didn't know much about Princeville until I started reading on this last night. It kind of enlightened me as to what Princeville's all about. So.
Yeah, I want to say I looked up some stats on it, and it's like 97% of that town is African American, or was at one point. So that's a large number right there. So you got to think out of 100 people, 97 of them were African American. And it even says that a lot of the people that are from there, look, there are families in Princeville today who trace their own lineage to a place called Shiloh Landing by way of the slave trade. So it's deeply significant in history. It is both unmarked and unrecognized. So how does a town like this have this much history? Which I'm sure there's a whole bunch across the U.S., but that type of significant history. Is this the first time y'all have heard about it?
Yes.
Yes.
This is my first time.
Yes.
So I used to work for the USDA, and I did a lot of tobacco stuff and cotton stuff, and I'd be over there all the time. So that's kind of how I found out about it,
Okay.
and start talking to some of the people from there.
And
And
sometimes I just be thinking that you just a Black history like buff.
no, I just you get like the Greensboro thing. I went to Winston-Salem State. And then we go to A&T all the time, and then you kind of hear about it, but it just, like you said, they never discuss it in school. They never discuss
So like
it.
even like in
formally.
A&T and Winston-Salem never discussed anything like that, or
They do, but it's just not a,
it's
Not
not
like
too
a
much focus.
big deal.
yeah. It's just like when you, to me, like you talk about.
What about Fayetteville? You went to Fayetteville State, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Do they talk about anything like that?
Yeah, but it just wasn't. You're 18, 17, 18, 19. They might go over it, but I feel like they go over a wider range of history, not so much local. Now, when you get to these classes like North Carolina history, you start learning. Like I learned a lot about Lumbee Indians, and a lot of the agrarian culture in North Carolina. Then you start getting into stuff like that. But typically, just because it's in North Carolina, they're not going to pay. Heck, just Fayetteville alone, the Market House, that was a slave house where they were trading slaves off. And Columbia, South Carolina got one. You've been to Fayetteville and you've seen the downtown area, right?
Well, as far as like where the Market House is, right?
Yeah. So Charleston, South Carolina has one twice as big. It's huge. So you can imagine the type of history.
Sometimes, sometimes when we like visit these places, like, I don't know, sometimes you kind of like feel a certain way whether or not like, dang, should I be enjoying this town? Like with all this stuff that happened,
right.
Back in the past.
Well,
because I mean, I like Charleston. Like I like, getting away, to Charleston or whatever. But then it's like all this history, behind it.
There's a lot of hate everywhere, man. Especially back then, and it's just the thing to me with North Carolina is you don't see the roots anymore. Now you see all this fruit.
Yeah. And
that's coming from the technology and the colleges. And it paints this picture of North Carolina like, oh, it's a beautiful place to live in. And let's forget this nasty little bit of history that we have. Like, I mean, you can't.
Yeah.
Just like when they tore the Confederate statues down in, what was that, Duke?
Mm-hmm. No.
UNC. Yeah. So, to me, these people, these college kids are like, well, this isn't what North Carolina should stand for. This ain't what the institution should stand for, and I understand that, but that's the history of the place.
Oh, so you would have been okay for them if the statue was still there?
I don't know. I was okay. I didn't even know about it, and I was okay then. There's a whole bunch of Confederate monuments around here that.
Yeah, I think they were trying to take one down in Greensboro too.
Yeah.
I think it was.
But what are you going to do? You're going to take it down and just say that has no place in our society, and I get that, but then.
I mean, it's always good to like look forward to the positive and know that we're getting to a better place. But I mean, there's still
part of the history
that are like still there.
That's part of the history. Like you're not. I don't know. I guess I've never really gave it too much thought as to whether it bothers me or not. To be honest, there's nothing derogatory on it. It might be somebody who was a slave owner, but I mean that's just to me what irks me about it is you're fighting a fight that doesn't need to be fought. Put that time and energy on the racism and the prejudices that are going on
the current issues now.
Yeah.
Like instead of going at a statue, like go at the real problem that's in the present.
They're killing black men daily.
Every day. No reason.
You don't hear too much about that. These same people that are tearing down a statue that it's just a symbol. It's just a symbolism instead of wood. I mean, there's people dying every day over just racist stuff, man. And everybody's worried about their own. I mean, they had the Japanese internment camps. I mean, there was just a lot going on. So I guess there's a better battle to pick in my mind.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I don't know. And that's the thing. There's probably all these little pockets of history around here, and when you start digging back in it, you're just like, it's shameful. It's shameful.
I mean, this is good, like, as far as, digging back into the history, just, with this podcast, us, I think maybe we should do more of this, than just doing it on Black History Month, Maybe every now and then we'll still keep on bringing up stuff like this, especially like bringing up, North Carolina's history.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Joe, I know
It's interesting.
you're more of a Kentucky guy, but...
From Kentucky?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Kentucky? You like them derbies?
Kentucky
You like
Derby.
to ride them horses?
Yeah, never been to Kentucky Derby, so.
So basically, what is the overall just feeling with Princeville?
I mean,
Let's do it like this. If you were from Princeville, the exact same ethnicity you are, how would you feel about everything that happened?
On a positive note, or like
Just visceral, whatever your just raw emotional
I like the
response.
fact that it was the first African American town built after the slaves were free, somewhat. Because I'm pretty sure as they were built. I mean, you were saying like there was still some racism as far as like Ku Klux Klan and stuff probably coming in messing with the people in the town and stuff like that.
I like how you're choosing your word. Like it seems like it's making you think about it a little bit more than just.
Well, yeah, this podcast makes me have to make sure that I choose my words properly.
That's a huge thing.
But it's not like I say anything out of the line.
No, it just shows your thinking. Like there's more to it than just what.
And sometimes I don't think.
Wow, we're all like that.
But
That's a huge thing to celebrate, though, man.
what, as far as it being like the first?
Yeah, I think that's a huge. In the midst of all that adversity and everything that was going on, these people still.
And I love it that it's North Carolina.
Yeah, I think
I
that's
don't know
dope.
what it is, man.
That's dope, man.
I'm from New York, but it's like every time when I find out things about North Carolina, I don't know.
Makes you proud a little bit.
Yeah, it makes me proud. Yeah, I mean, I could say I'm a North Carolinian. I've been here for more than 20 years now. But I know you say that I'm a North Carolinian because my mom is from Winston-Salem, so that automatically makes me a North Carolinian.
Dude, when your mom talks, she just reeks of it. To me, that's just what a North Carolinian is. I don't know about now. Nowadays, I don't know. It's changed so much. I don't even feel like I fit in here anymore. Is what's crazy about it. So Joe, if you were from Princeville, and let's say you are from Princeville, now you found
with those braids.
Yeah, with those braids, with those plaits.
Plaits.
Give me some platitudes. Or those twists.
Yeah, what are
Twist.
Oh, they twists.
Shoot.
I'm telling you, man, he look like Snoop Dogg right here.
Big boss, baby. Big boss, baby. So if you were from Princeville and you found this out,
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, that I just found out the history of Princeville.
And let me tell you this: you don't have to come across as being sexy, Joe. You can just say exactly how you feel. No, there's no camera here. Ain't no camera here. You can just.
Okay, so if I was from Princeville and I just found out the history of Princeville, I mean, to some degree, I guess I feel some type of way as far as what my ancestors had to go through to get this city established, and all the issues and trials and tribulations they had to go through to get it to where it is now, because they had to go through a lot to say, hey, we have our own little town, little city, whatever you want to call it.
Here's what's mind blowing. the people that are from this town today can link their heritage directly to the slaves.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised.
Do you see what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like that about Sonya and them. I don't know, but I feel like that's the case. Well, here's the other thing. You know that, I don't know how true this is, but I think it is. They talked about the Gullah people and the Geechees.
Mm-hmm.
You get down there in South Carolina and in Georgia. So apparently it really stretched from the North Carolina coast to Florida. So there's these towns. There's a town called Wilmington is one. A lot of those people are descendants of Geechees and the Gullahs. Look it up. That's why when you hear Sonya talk, she'll say something like, the Rood. You ever notice how she does say some of that stuff? All right, so we're going to speed it up, is what you're saying, right?
Well, because we're on a time crunch, we're in the library again.
In the library. All right, so let's speed it up. Come on. But that's Princeville, North Carolina. Basically, just summarize it real quick. What is Princeville, North
Rocky
Carolina?
Mount, Tar River. Whenever you get a chance, you should go and visit. I feel like I'm gonna go ahead and visit.
Yeah.
Let's take a trip out there.
We should take a road trip.
Y'all want to go?
Yeah,
we'll go. I'm serious. We're gonna go. We'll take pictures, and then we'll do a second podcast on what happened. So we got this information from the Cultural Landscape Foundation. So you can email them at info@tclf.org. Phone number 202-483-0553.
So this almost shows that this was like the start of African Americans, building their own town, because now it's like Atlanta is like the new African American
Chocolate City.
I thought DC was Chocolate City.
I don't know. I think it's kind of that term sort of bounces around. Oh, they were just getting books out the rack. I think the term just sort of bounces around, but
like I feel like the African Americans in Atlanta is really building up Atlanta to be a more African American city.
If Charlotte don't swipe it from them,
Ooh.
or Durham is another one.
Well, I'm talking about like a bigger city.
Charleston.
Charleston?
I would say if you're going to say Atlanta might be more popularized, but I think Charleston might hold that title. All the slaves a majority of the slaves that came in through this part of the South came in through
but
Charleston.
It's just amazing how far, African Americans have come.
Oh, yeah.
As far as from a small little town and now to like a big city like Atlanta, DC. I mean,
Norfolk. I think these are heavily Philadelphia, Baltimore.
Yeah.
But then if you look at all them people from Baltimore and DC, they got family.
That's down from the South.
North Carolina, South Carolina, maybe Georgia. But that's a whole different discussion. So, okay, just real quick, what is Princeville? If you had to summarize it in 2 sentences, what is it?
It's the first African American town that was built after the Civil War.
All right, by
African Americans.
Yeah, freed slaves, newly freed
Was that
slaves.
FUBU, for us by us? Or for us built by us? No,
Yeah.
that was corny. My bad.
Yeah, FUBU, is that still
That's not a thing.
relevant?
No, it's not relevant.
Huh?
Can it be? Would you wear a FUBU?
No.
Would you wear a FUBU?
This day and age, no.
No.
What if it was just-
But I could see, like, because, some of these kids now, they rocking, like, some of the stuff from the 90s. So
Man.
it wouldn't, like, surprise me if I see somebody rocking FUBU.
They don't know.
But you know what? The guy, one of the founders, he's on Shark Tank. So he's, like, doing his own.
Oh, yeah, the
business,
bald-headed guy.
Yeah, doing his own, like, little investments or whatever. Well, it's not even little, but yeah.
That was
So he's
LL
doing his
Cool
own
J.
thing.
That was LL Cool J's, like,
Yeah.
brand.
So speaking of FUBU, you might can find it in Walmart with a bad
Along with Shaq's.
I remember I was watching Wildin' Out the
And
other night.
Starberry.
Somebody took his shoes because he was wearing his shoes, and he brought the shoe up to Shaq's face and was like, "What are these? Like, what is the?" Because the logo was trying to look like the Michael Jordan logo, the Jumpman logo, but it was like Shaq's logo, and it was funny. Yeah, they've been there on the couch.
No, but then why? I don't know. I mean, it's good to come out with a shoe. It's probably affordable for people who could use
because you know
the
Jordan, them expensive shoes.
Or just make them make Jordans affordable. Do a lower grade version of Jordan so people can afford them. But all right. So I don't know. Can we say? I don't know if we can say Walmart. Can we say Walmart? I don't think we should. I don't think we should.
What about Wally World?
I don't think we should say that.
I can't use that either.
We'll just say there's a.
What about
the W? No. We'll just say there's a store that we're going to read reviews about.
There's a store.
It's a company.
It starts with a W, and then it ends with Mart.
Wayne-Mart. All right, so basically, this is what we're gonna do. We're just gonna read reviews about a company, and these are local reviews. This is an international company.
So this is like, so when you printed these out, or pick these reviews out, it's not on a particular, what you call it, a particular item.
No, this is just like based on overall, just reviews of the place.
Okay.
So these are local to Raleigh.
So this is just the fun part of the podcast. We was serious, talking about Princeville, but now we just gonna cut up right now and read these Walmart reviews.
This place.
You're just gonna have to bleep it out.
I'll cut it out. So all right, who's gonna read? Read.
All right, so we take time.
Maybe we'll skip that first one. It's too long, man. All right, we'll go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. That's how we'll do it.
Oh, so I start. I'm number one. All right, so this first one is from Tyler, and he says, "Great place to buy half-ate drink groceries, used cosmetics, and have your car vandalized. Also, waiting 30 minutes to check out is a huge plus. This place brings out the worst in Raleigh-Knightdale."
Wow. Okay.
Wow. Okay. I'll read the next one. This customer said, "This store always have odor. Go in today around 9:50 in the morning and not one shopping cart inside. Only came in for 2 items but ended up getting frustrated and leaving. Needed a case of water but there was no shopping cart, so that didn't happen. Go grab my other item but come to check out and only 2 cashiers open. Not one scan." And
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. It's Sunday, so the 2 cashiers were backed up with people's carts full of groceries. Went to electronics, hoping to check out with the 1 item, but that was a people's cart. That was a no-go. Ended up walking out, getting my water from Food Lion, and ordering my other item on Amazon.
All right, so let's see what Bridget talking about. She said, "The hell with this place. Completely disrespectful employees and lacks management." Goodness gracious.
All right, let's see what Jamie got to say. She want that smoke.
She wants that smoke. Yeah, she wants
the smoke.
"I have never seen a display of human trash that I have at this place.
Wow.
I can't wait to move away from this area. Not often that I do a review, but this place makes me want to kill myself."
God, so.
All right.
Man, some people are so dramatic.
Let's see what
so much energy.
Sarah got to say about Sarah. "The door greeters are so rude and do harassing. In the process of trying to leave, she made me miss my show." Wow.
Okay. All right, so Quitter. Slow as F. And what name of their bank ain't like normal. Goodness. No customer help. And dude at checkout was funny, but my car won't work.
K-A-R-D.
Yeah, won't work. Have call manager to print receipt. Go another line, cause dude was useless other than his jokes. LOL. Ghetto and employer need clean up this place. Everyone's stealing shit. Shaking my head. I have to say that, man. That just makes it. That makes it real.
Bleep on that one.
Yeah,
that would be funny.
Everyone's stealing.
Oh man, I ain't gonna read this Madison one unless it's a good one. That's a long one.
No, I think it's good because it just kind of highlights how bad this place is.
All right, so what we got here is Madison, and this is what they had to say. "Ever want to feel like you don't matter and that everything around you is a giant void? You've picked the right place. From the time you've parked, you have been scheduled to be subject. You've been scheduled to be subject of the next Forensic Files episode. While walking in, if you make it that far, prepare yourself for a circus of trailer trash and wannabe gangsters. You need help finding something? Don't worry, because you don't see a damn employee until you're ready to shell out. This place makes me feel absolute worse and get a headache. Anytime I feel forced to choose this location. Just kill yourself, because it'll be better than stepping 1 foot in that ratchet garbage.
Gosh, dog.
All right, let's see what Jermaine has to say.
People don't talk like this about World War II, man. I don't understand. Okay, all right.
Jermaine, straight hood. Worst Walmart not only in Raleigh, but the state of North Carolina, if not all America. Wow.
Okay, we'll read that again, but leave Walmart out.
Oh, yeah.
Nah, just bleep it out. Just cut it.
All right,
Just cut out
all right.
more.
Here goes Ashley. It's so filthy and buggies everywhere.
What? Buggies?
Uh-huh.
All right. Vlad. Food here, place where you buy chicken or vegetables near the deli on the left of the McDonald's, gave me food poisoning.
Goodness gracious, this place.
Chris is ghetto as all get out.
Yeah.
I have never felt more like a thief in my life than at this store. I was getting 2 cases of water and cereal bars. One woman runs to the other side of my cart and calls for another lady as they read my self-checkout screen. Then I get asked, did I scan anything? This Walmart doesn't have to worry about me ever again. Being black, feeling like I did in the 60s.
So when I was going through it, there was a lot of claims of
Race.
prejudice.
Race undertones.
Yeah. Jamie says, ghetto tackling shoplifters didn't feel safe. Turned right around and left. Good review. Just make it quick and straight to the point.
Success Attractor. What's that? Did somebody read that name like that?
Yeah, that was a name.
Okay. Very bad customer service from the black lady. Bad attitude. They don't answer their phone.
I told you.
Yeah.
Oh, so it just got simple where, man, smells weird.
Yeah. Adam says smells weird. Let's see. Here we go. We're going to fly through it. Unsafe, dirty, druggy employees.
Necessary evil for that one item that mysteriously can be bought elsewhere.
I'm stressed just going through the parking lot. Rude customers hate this place.
John, cockroaches galore.
All the 2 centers couldn't get me what was All the 2 centers couldn't get me what I was looking for.
Quadruple A size.
I know that's a size. Teresa, someone stole my wallet out my purse. Whoopie-doo.
Don, it's one of those things where if you didn't have to, you wouldn't.
Boomers G. I work there. It's terrible.
God, dog.
Hold on, and they spell there THEIR.
Yes.
Jared, worst store on the planet. Where do you find these brain dead morons to work there? Do you go to Section 8 housing and find every moron you can? Seriously? Wow.
You can scan morons. Deborah, I have had too many instances of discrimination in different occasions while shopping.
MH. Oh, somebody got a haircut.
What in the world?
Worst haircut ever. On the morning of my wedding, stopped in to have my fade and hair just touched up. Left with a shaved head. Incompetent stylist with fake credentials on the wall. No man should come here. You pay $15 for a $5 haircut.
So is this somebody from Cameo?
Why would you pay $15 for your hair?
Somebody from Cameo went to Walmart to get an edge up.
From Cameo.
Or is it New Edition? Why would you go to
Walmart to get a haircut? You go to an actual barbershop.
Yeah, that's just...
That's a C set yourself up for that.
So those are the reviews of a local store here, just based on feedback from real-time folks in Raleigh. So Raleigh's not all the glitz and glamour. They serve up bad meat, bad customer service, bad attitudes, and a healthy dose of racism on the side.
Well, I see there's one positive review right here on a Frozen doll. I'll give it up to this store and give them a good review. Let's see here. Absolutely amazing. So glad they finally brought out this doll with Show Yourself.
What the hell? Why? All right, so that's the best we can do for that particular. Yeah, hopefully we could do more of these. That was pretty good. It was good to read that stuff and to hear people's feedback on how much they hate something.
Yeah. Like putting all that energy. So,
I mean, like,
sometimes people just don't have nothing else to do and just feel like leaving a bad
Negative
review, I
comment.
guess.
truthfully, these weren't well written either.
Yeah.
These were just,
I don't know what's the problem.
They typed it how they talk.
yeah, pretty much. Yep. Ebonics. That's your way. Say, go ahead and say it.
Ebonics.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know if that's even Ebonics though.
Nah, it's just misspelled words.
So what was the next? I forgot the next thing.
we was going to talk about this whole checking in thing.
All right, you're gonna check in. So you don't want no smoke. If you don't, you got to check in because you don't want no smoke. What does that mean, Joe? Yeah, dumb. Come on.
No smoke?
Well,
No.
you don't want that smoke.
You don't want no smoke, but check in.
I'm looking for that smoke.
I ain't looking for no
I
smoke.
think it's just smoke overall.
I mean, basically what that I think that means is that you don't want these problems.
No,
You know?
like
Yeah, I
what?
think we said this earlier.
Yeah.
we did.
So what is checking in? What is this checking in
Yeah,
when you
what-
go
what-
out
yeah,
of town?
checking in.
You go to another city or town.
Oh, checking in. I
I'm
don't
not talking about no checking in a hotel. either.
I
Motel.
know. I mean, I
Holiday
don't get it,
Inn.
but you know, there's people that they may go to Florida or wherever, and they go to a certain spot, and they would just be on Facebook or whatever, and they say, "I checked in at this particular location."
I don't know. Is that it though?
Is that it? I don't know.
So what is checking? What is checking?
good.
What is checking in? I don't think like a literal like check in, but I think they call it like let's say like.
Alright, so
Go ahead.
alright.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so Joe, that was really good. I enjoyed it.
Big boss
I
baby.
didn't know. I mean,
No, because I totally forgot about that. As far as like when you're on Facebook or anywhere else, and then you
Yeah.
get to a spot and you want to check in, you hit the check in button. Right?
I mean, that's still a thing, right?
Yeah.
You still do that.
No, we're just talking about checking in because we're talking about that smoke, and then recently.
Oh wait, stop. We gotta throw we gotta go to our sponsor. So
yeah.
we'll go ahead and take this time and go to our sponsor. Here we go.
Booyah!
All right,
And we're back.
And we're back.
Yeah.
Thank you for that
One
good
of these
word.
days we'll have that filled in. So speaking of that smoke, unfortunately, we had a rapper that passed by the name of Pop Smoke. That's from my original town, Brooklyn, and so there's just speculation as far as whether or not it was a robbery or whatchamacallit, or just a hit or a straight up hit. Mm-hmm. And it looks like he had ties, to the Crips in Brooklyn. So it just makes it, I don't know. It's just a lot of speculation. So what I'm thinking, or my opinion or speculation or whatever, is thinking was there like an altercation that he might have had so he wasn't in Brooklyn, he was in LA at the time when this happened. And so it seems like, a lot of these rappers that come from out of town that go into, like Detroit or LA, like a lot of the locals are expecting, some of these rappers to check in. And it seems like it's more of the rappers that are like on that, gangster tip, like always talking that gun talk, all that stuff in their music, always showing out or whatever. So it just seems like the locals are expecting a check-in. Now, I don't know what the check-in involves, like just to let them know, hey guys, I'm here. You don't want no problems, don't want that smoke.
I think basically
Or
that's
it's more of like
a respect thing.
a respect thing,
Yeah.
or if there's like a payment involved as far as checking in, I don't know.
I think it's more of a
I think it's a territorial thing.
Yeah.
Just basically saying, hey, you're in my city, you're in my state. They're just letting us know, hey, you're here. So without
It always like boils down to the respect thing.
yeah.
when it
But then
comes to
that was
life.
was that ever a thing like back in the day where it was, at least it wasn't publicized as much. If it was, it was something unspoken.
I don't remember that whole checking in thing back in the day. I mean, of course, you had that whole like West Coast, East Coast beef going on.
That was crazy.
I don't know if there was any checking in involved.
See that, but there has to be something. You can't be from one part of the country, and like you're out there, you're a celebrity, and you're talking that stuff, and you go to another part, like you just can't. You can't go out and indulge yourself and enjoy the luxuries that place has to offer. You can't go out there and stunt without.
Yeah, especially like if. So I've been listening to this Tekashi 6ix9ine podcasting where they're talking about Tekashi, and Angie Martinez is the one that's talking about it. And it was the same situation with him where he ended up going to Texas, and it was like he had some issues with Jay Prince Jr. And so he had to check in, but of course. Tekashi wasn't trying to hear that. So then it was that whole situation where it just ended up going bad because it ended up landing back in New York, and it just, it got crazy.
Then somebody, I don't know, like, I think I was watching an interview with, like, Snoop Dogg, and he says that he will check in. He'll go to...
He would call this certain.
He's like certain. I don't know, he's like a real people person now. Like, it's just crazy how much he's like grown since.
That don't mean like still days. You gonna have to. He says when he goes to New York, he'll hit somebody up. It's like, hey, I'm in town. Everything cool? Is it cool if I slide through? And that's what he says. But it would make sense because you got to think. Like let's say somebody does a show in Durham. Let's just say.
And you know what? I think this is probably gonna like turn into a thing where even like towns like Durham are gonna do the same thing if they haven't already. As far as like when rappers come in and gonna perform at a certain venue, like you need to check in with us first before you even like try to make money.
Ox and Open Podcast. Ox and the Opus Podcast.
What was I supposed to be saying? And the Opus and Podcast. The Ox and the Opus Podcast. Yeah.
Well, you know that thing with Rick Ross? He was claiming something, and then there were members of whatever he was claiming throughout, like North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, all these places. They didn't want him in performing in these towns. So I don't think it's too different for that. So like, let's say there's a town like Durham, and you get, I don't know, Justin Bieber, and he comes in and he just acts like he just owns Durham. They're not going to put up with that. Yeah. You got to come in and say, hey, I'm here, show some respect. I think that's just the next tier of it. Yeah. And like we seen that with who? The Baby? The Baby, yeah. That was on video. Yeah, I don't know how authentic that was, but it looked authentic to me. And I don't think the Baby, from what I can gather from that, he didn't have a problem like really just saying, hey.
I mean, he said, I think he was acting like he would have like, I guess,
showed them
you just
respect.
Don't like to use that word like checking in if you're like that type of person. Like, I think it would have been more respectful, like if those guys would have came up to him and then like they could have like talked about it or whatever.
But what was what they didn't want him shooting the video? Did they know he wasn't from Atlanta though?
I don't think
he had that big Charlotte jersey on, but I don't know if that makes a difference.
No.
I mean, I don't think they had any issue with him. It's just the fact that he didn't acknowledge himself as far as say, hey, I'm here. That could have had something to do with it too. So,
but then how do you? So you show up someplace and you're just doing a video, and then just some people come up to you like you didn't check in.
Yeah. So I don't know.
What would you do? Would you check in at that point? Like, okay, I'm checking in. Hey, my name's Danny. Nice to meet you. Doing a video. Like, what do you do?
Well, in order for me to not, get killed or die,
I guess you're checking in.
I guess I'm checking in.
You don't want that smoke. If you don't want that smoke, you're checking in.
Facebook, I'm checking in. Shoot. Just in case something happens to me. That was my last location.
So, but I'm still trying to wrap my mind around it. Do people check in though? Hip hop, I guess they do, but country singers ain't gonna do that. R&B, no. Bobby Brown gonna do his show wherever. He gonna show up in Kansas and do the show and start hunching the air and doing these pelvic thrusts.
It just seems like it's more geared towards hip hop.
Yeah, hip hop is just has its own set of rules when it. And you know what? Pure hip hop. It's just that when the gang life enters into hip hop, that's when you get like all these new these different rules.
Well, it's all based on like that's y'all there, this is us here. It just seems like even in New York, right? You got your boroughs, and then they don't Brooklyn and the Bronx. They be trying to rep, and then I don't know. To me, I'm just looking at it like at that point when it was just New York on the scene. When we were young, it was just New York. Like nobody else got love. And the West Coast kind of did their thing. And it was just only about those two places. So now I feel like this checking in thing is reflective of like, no, you didn't acknowledge us when, it was all about the East Coast, we showed you support. Then it was all about the West Coast, we showed you support. And then now it's just like, the South is such a huge landmass. There's a lot of states that encompass the South. So,
but I guess it doesn't make it, because the baby's from Charlotte, and then he was in Atlanta, so even like there was a little discrepancy there, and they're like from the South.
I just think everybody wants to stake their claim to something. They want to be recognized and respected.
Whole social media thing, as far as that clout.
Yeah,
that's dangerous. Yeah, chasing clout will get you up out.
Chasing that clout
will get you that smoke.
Will get you that smoke and get smoked.
Yeah, you don't want to. So, all right. So here's a question: checking in. Are you checking in? You go to a Pigeon Forge. You gonna check in with them guys?
Gatlinburg.
Yeah,
ain't checking in.
Because I don't be like living that life.
Yeah. All right, here's one. You ain't even gotta go out of state. You go to Dunn. You checking in?
No, I'm not.
You gotta check in with them. Here's the thing.
It depends on how you live your life. Like if you are living, in
the public eye. I guess.
Well, not even public eye. Just you, giving off them, a thug, like gangster vibe. Mm-hmm. Then it's like the people that's in that town, they want to test you. So then that's when they expect you to check in.
There's been so many times just back home, just in neighborhoods or on the street, on like a familiar, popular street. Like, you ain't supposed to be here, man. What you doing there? Even though, like, they know your face, they know you from somewhere nearby. Yeah. They just don't. It's very territorial, man.
Yeah.
You got to check. You got to check in. So you get out there to Sanford, check in, homeboy. You get the few Quaverino.
They realize Sanford.
You get the few Quaverino. Check in. You see, you get the Andrew. You best check in, right, Joe?
I wonder if they got like little check-in like kiosks where we can check.
Oh, the worst place.
Yo, that would be like a funny skit. Like if somebody did that like on a show or something like that, like or a check-in kiosk.
Like you check in? Well, I guess I did.
Scan your badge.
Yeah.
You can go to Chapel Hill. You best check in, man. Are y'all checking? So are y'all saying you ain't checking in?
I ain't checking in. I'm not.
You just gonna show up on the spot?
The way my life is right now is I don't see a reason why I need to check in. I'm a nobody.
Yeah.
I'm a nobody. I'm not.
But it's not the fact that you're not a nobody. You don't live your life like in a violent way, like
right.
Flexing like you a gangster.
Like I got it like that or.
It's time. All right. Here we go.
It's that time.
You've got like 3 more minutes. I just want to give you a heads up.
3 more minutes.
3 more minutes. Okay, we're almost done. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And
all right, so our mother said that we're gonna have to wrap this up. We have 3 minutes. All right.
Minutes.
So speaking of checking in, we're finna check out. What was the next thing? Was that it?
Well, we was gonna talk about a song by Crooked Letters.
I think we'll have to
do that like the
we'll
next
postpone it.
Yeah.
So just to go, we're gonna review a song by Crooked Letters. It's really good. The wordplay was pretty good, and it just. So remember we talked about David Banner and all that. This is like some of his earlier stuff that I was referring to. Like they were spitting on there.
Yeah.
Especially from back then.
I gotta look at the lyrics. Like I listened to it earlier today, but I really want to like look at those lyrics and see like what they were really saying, or the wordplay too that they were doing in there.
It was good, man. It was a really good song. What'd you think, Joe?
I liked it.
Had a dope little break beat and
that also. That kind of surprised me because back then, I thought it might have been just a straight up like Southern type beat, but it was actually like a break, boom bap type beat.
But I think that's.
You think David Banner could produce that?
Yeah, had to be one of them.
Interesting.
Well, you said it. You hit
when did that come out?
90
something.
Late 90s.
Not late, probably like 90.
Mid 90s.
6, 97.
Okay.
But you said it back then. Back then, there wasn't a lot of Southern music out besides like 2 Live Crew,
Outkast,
Barely, I think, and see that's why you start if you really talk to some older cats. I'd say like from 40 on up. Doesn't matter where they're from. Doesn't matter if they're from Kansas, Mississippi, North Carolina, South Carolina, New York. We all kind of came up on that same brand of hip hop. That's all that was out. I got a buddy, he's 43. He's from Atlanta. He does, when he rhymes like lyricist.
Spit it.
Yeah, but anyway, we're going to review that Crooked Letter song. And is that it?
So yeah, this was a good episode.
Episode 4, Episode 4, who are you?
I am
Tight braids.
Tight braids. AKA Leather Legs. AKA Big Boss Baby. The Weatherman.
Look how smooth he's trying to be. Like, he's trying to really like get this off right now. Like, he's really trying to.
Suede eyebrows.
Big Boss Baby. You just call me Boss
Big
for
Boss
short.
Baby. Oh.
What's the weather report, real quick?
No rain in my forecast.
All right, here we go. This is the Ox.
And the Opus.
I'm King Conundrum.
And I'm Golden Gringo.
And we got Big Boss Baby here in the background.
AKA the boss.
What it do?
Lip gloss, the balls.
The smallest boss.
Dental floss.
And we out.
We out.